Hello. Hopefully there's not too much of a delay. Can everyone hear me? It's my first time doing a live chat, so I'm not sure if I got it correct or not. So it looks like there's a little bit of a delay. Awesome. Hello, Karen. So what I'm trying here is I've got video here with my camera, but then I'm keeping an eye on my computer so I can keep track of all of you guys, but it looks like there is a little bit of a delay. Anyways, welcome. So I thought what I'd do today, because hi Tiana. Hi Sue, I'm glad you guys could make it. I thought, mostly I just wanted to chat with you guys, but in case no one's got anything to say, we could go over some of the questions that people do ask Jehovah's Witnesses, probably most of which you already know the answers to. It's weird watching the delay. Sunol, is that how you pronounce your name? Welcome. So, we all know basic answers to a lot of the questions that people ask Jehovah's Witnesses, and I am free here. Any questions you might ask of me. Pretty much everything, as you all know. Sunny, is that how? Okay. Gotcha. I was going to go through the basics. What, holidays do Jehovah's Witnesses celebrate? We all know the answer to that. None. Except anniversaries. It seems like parents do get to celebrate marriage. That's it. Everything else is out. So I was going to go through a few things that impacted me, such as, why do Jehovah's Witnesses not vote? How many of you guys are former Jehovah's Witnesses, and have you voted yet? Jehovah's Witnesses don't vote because they like to be neutral. They don't side with anything. They are no part of this world. I did not vote for 25 years, and the reason I didn't vote is because I was still convinced up here that the government was ultimately going to come after the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I was afraid that I would be voting for somebody that was going to try to destroy my family. So, thank you, Sue. I'm in Idaho. Is it a conscience issue now? Really? I will have to check into that constellation Pegasus. I have not heard that it's a conscience matter, but I'll definitely look that up. Iowa. But I didn't vote for the longest time. As soon as I turned 18, the first thing I did was I went and registered. I was like, I'm voting. I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. I'm doing this. And my mind still would not let me. I still felt, well, what I know now is I was still indoctrinated. Did not know that at the time. So I did not vote. And I used to tell people that I didn't want to vote because I didn't want to, again, vote for the president that was going to take down my Jehovah's Witness family. And because I still believed in the tribulation, and I was scared that I was going to get tortured to divulge where my family lived. So I voted for the first time, actually, this last election for our governor. We did not win. But I will continue voting. Why don't Jehovah's Witnesses? It was. Hi, Beth Sareem. It was made a conscience issue in 1999, but we all missed it, she said, because it was slipped under a question from readers. Really? I want to make a note of that. Because I don't think my mother knows. Not that they'd vote. Let's be honest. they're not going to vote. Very interesting. Just making a note here. Okay. Barbara Anderson's interview went over. I must have missed that one. The first time you voted, you were scared. Oh, I felt weird. I felt shaky. But I felt excited and it was like, I'm doing this. Got my I voted sticker. It felt empowering. It did. I wanted to video it, but I wasn't sure legally if you're allowed to, which I found out later on that you can. So that was very cool. Another question that people often ask, and I got this a lot as a little kid and I never knew how to answer it, why don't you salute the flag? People ask me now, do you know the Pledge of Allegiance? Disappointing stuff. Just trying to keep up with the comments. We do not pledge allegiance because, as you guys know, and if you haven't been a Jehovah's Witness, we do not pledge allegiance to anyone except Jehovah and the governing body now, apparently. Okay, so it is the November 1st, 1999 Watchtower question from readers in regards to voting being a conscience matter. That's good to know. I guess that's something I can stop bitching about then. I hated not pledging the allegiance to the flag just because I hated standing out. The first time I said the pledge was when I was 15 years old. I was sent back east, as many of you know, because I was going to taint my siblings if I stayed in the house, so my parents sent me away. And that's how I met my biological father, who we'd been in hiding from for my whole life. And I remember exactly what I was wearing because I couldn't look at the flag. I was glad to not be different. I was wearing pink and black checkered, little tiny checkered pants. And I remember I just kept looking down at them and thinking, Jehovah's watching me right now. I don't know if I felt better that I didn't stand out as much as I knew I was doing something that, God forbid, I was not supposed to be doing. I agree, Tiana. I hated the feeling of being an outcast. But I felt even more guilty. And the answer is, as all of you guys know, although we did not ever say the pledge, we do know the pledge just as well as all the worldly kids because we hear it every single day and we do say it in our head. My mother used to encourage us to pray to Jehovah during that time. No, I did not do that either. Why don't Jehovah's Witnesses make their own school for kids? Oh my God. Oh my God. Because it's not profitable, I'm assuming. Like, if you have to think about it, this is a for-profit organization, right? They're here to make money, and in order to, I guess, I don't know, that's what, they could hire teachers, they could have volunteer teachers, and they could do their own school, but I think ultimately it would cost them too much money. I mean, we're talking property, you got to feed the children, you have to have a curriculum. Yeah, too much money, but thank God they don't. Teddy from California says, I like being different. It helps me with life now. I think it definitely helped me in accepting the fact that I'm weird and I'm a little bit different. Former 2 Free XJW says that, back to the question on from readers, that it's a conscience matter from the 1999 Watchtower, but then it proceeds to tell you that you still shouldn't vote. And we, you know what, we hear that a lot with the blood issue. They say, well, now it's a conscience matter, but if you do just decide to make that decision, you're disassociating yourself. So it's that, yes, go ahead and do it, but as soon as you do it, we're going to smack your hands a bit. Thank you, Esther. Welcome, Canada. Witnesses, exactly, Teddy. Witnesses are broke. They can't afford private school. Oh. Yeah, and Beth Sarim, you're right. They're already losing so much money on the child abuse scandals. They can't afford to have their own schools. Sue is saying, I bet voting Is a conscience matter because too many Jehovah's Witnesses are finding out that the governing body it's a voting system and decide, and that's how they decide what to publish and what decisions to make. Oh, you're from Aruba? That's Surim. I did not realize that. So, voting, saluting the flag. What other questions do I have here? Oh, why don't Jehovah's Witnesses believe in the cross or carry a cross like other Christians? Apostate babe. Hi, welcome, Linda. She said they have made their own school. Jehovah's Witnesses started their own school. I was successfully kicked out. Why am I not surprised? They had them during the flag thing when they were expelled. I don't know, when was that? That's the first I've heard of that. And yeah, kicked out of a J-Dub school. Because they don't understand Hebrew. Yeah, they don't speak Greek or Hebrew. Yeah, I agree, Tiana. That is one of the reasons that I do continue to do activism, is because I really didn't realize that all of the garbage that I was going through as a kid, that it's still occurring. And save the children. A lot of people used to ask me, well, why did you choose to be a Jehovah's Witness? Well, I didn't choose to be a Jehovah's Witness any more than I chose to be vegetarian. My mommy did the shopping, so I don't understand Hebrew. So the cross. The main reason, the first reason that Jehovah's Witnesses, they teach you the art of absolutely saying nothing. Shit, hold on, I can't keep up here. Yeah, that's correct. Constellation Pegasus is saying that Rutherford got rid of the cross and the pyramid. Sorry, I have this very swollen gland. I'm going to go to the urgent care after this. Hopefully they can fix me, because God knows you can't fix anything else here. Why don't they allow beards? So I'm going to go to this question really quick. The only reason that I can think of why they actually don't allow beards is because Russell had a beard and Rutherford didn't like Russell. That is my assumption. If anyone knows the actual reason why they don't have beards, I know they like to be clean cut, but I think that point blank, when Rutherford took over, that he wanted to kind of separate himself out as much as possible from Russell, and therefore he did. There was a story that someone was in his home with a beard and he was told, you need to shave it off, and I don't know if it was a rumor or just said to be known that it reminded him of Russell, and he didn't. He wanted to separate out from that and basically make this cult his own. Teddy said, I stopped going when I was 60 because of the beard bullshit. Lucky for you, that's all it took. Got to draw that line somewhere. Somebody had said something up here I wanted to address really quick. Yeah, Bestream's saying that beards are associated with bikers and hippies, and I think that's probably a big part of it in our more modern times. But you can have a mustache. And so beard fractions are okay, says Apostate Babe Linda James. Oh, they're fractioning everything. Somebody said, I'm still afraid to have a cross in my house, Sue. I 100% agree. I was thinking about this today. I still have kind of a distaste for crosses, and I don't have a reason why, so I'm pretty sure it's just that little part of my brain that just associates negativity to it. Jehovah's Witnesses do not believe in the cross because, as most of you know, they believe that Jesus died on a stake or a tree or a telephone pole. I don't know. Therefore, they don't believe that the cross represents the sacrifice that he gave. The other cop-out that they used to say, Teddy is saying you can have a beard, but just not in America. Yeah, I've noticed that in other countries where that is more acceptable, that it is allowed. Yeah. The other reason they don't carry a cross, this is what they always used to tell me, what my mother told me was, if Jesus is somebody that we loved so much, when they carry the cross, to represent the sacrifice. Well, sweetie, if somebody killed you with a gun, I wouldn't go around wearing a little gun around my neck in order to remember that you died. And so that was, I don't know if anybody else was told that same story or example, but I remember as a kid going, yeah, I guess that is kind of morbid. Interestingly enough, because Shirley is saying, did Jesus have a beard? I'm not a historian. I 100% don't know, but I do find it interesting that he has a beard. If anybody saw my last Caleb Sylvia video, their cartoons portray Jesus. No, sorry, Adam. They portray Adam with a beard. And a lot of the pictures also, we assume that Jesus had a beard. Esther was also told the same thing. If somebody we love was shot, we wouldn't carry a gun around our neck. Yeah. So that is the main reason that they do not believe in the cross, carry the cross. And it's supposed to be a phallic symbol too. And God knows we don't want anything to do with penises. Got to pretend they're not there. Are there female ministers? That's a question that people ask. No, there are not female ministers inside the Jehovah's Witness organization. When did it become okay to use technology? When it was convenient. Tiana was asking. Yeah, technology was considered evil for a while. I know we didn't have a computer. My best friend growing up, her parents were like spiritually weak, and they had the only computer in the neighborhood. I was still allowed to go over there though, because my mom and her mom got along. I'm gonna go back to my why can't female be ministers in a second, but I want to answer Marnes Hammy. Why don't they like university, etc.? There is a couple of reasons why you are not allowed to get higher education. Or the bullet and chain around our neck. Higher education, honestly, my 100% belief is because they do not want you to be taught critical thinking. Okay, so that's going to be the first thing. When you're taught to think for yourself, then you're going to start questioning more. That is, to me, the bottom line. The other contributing factors as to why they don't like people going to school and getting an education is because you're taking away time from them. What they'll tell you, though, in the talk that I went to last year, is because it takes away time from Jehovah. All of you who are former witnesses and still spiritual know that you can still fully be spiritual here, and you can still be at the movies at the same time. They will say it's taking away from Jehovah your time, but really what they mean is you're taking away from the society. You're taking away from the governing body. You're taking away right there. I'm so sorry. And we had Mexican right before this, and so it really aggravated my glands because it was so delicious. So yeah, they don't want you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with the comments here. They don't want you to have critical thinking skills, and they don't want you. Your goal is to work for them. And if you get a job that has requires an education, or you get an education, therefore another job, that is going to be less time that you can dedicate to society. Your goal is to make it up to Bethel and to work for free. And your goal is to go door to door and to get their publications out there and increase their membership, which increases their contribution, so they do not want you going to school. However, they surely like to employ people up at Bethel, lawyers in particular right now, as we all know. And these are generally people who received an education, and then became Jehovah's Witnesses. Although there was a time that they were actually paying for people in Bethel, I believe, to go to law school because they needed more lawyers. So yeah, going back to are there female ministers, Apostle Babe points out that our brain mass is 10% less in size, and therefore we are in no position to lead. This has been said. Jehovah's Witness females, you basically are going to be a student for life. You are there to learn from the men and be guided by the men. You are not there to teach. In the meetings, which is what they call going when they go to church, lost my train of thought. When they go to church, they give talks. Men will be up at the podium or on the stage, and they will give talks to the audience. Women are allowed to go up there, but they're not allowed to directly address the audience. They will basically put on a little play where they're talking to each other, and they might pretend that they're knocking on the door and presenting a concept or a Jehovah's Witness principle to somebody that's worldly, and they will do an example of how to address these issues when you're out in service. But they are not allowed to directly teach any of the members of the congregation. Like I said, you as a female, you're there to learn and to be submissive for the rest of your life. Yeah, Constellation Pegasus is saying that Armageddon's right around the corner. You better go door to door to then get an education. That is 100% true. It is all about putting every bit of your time and effort into this life because it is a lifestyle. In fact, the least amount that you can work is the more that you can work for them for free. Love to Read is saying I was a Jehovah's Witness but not born in. I actually admire the JW kids that didn't pledge. My first witness and Bible study was from 2 girls at school. I, for me, really hated that I couldn't say the pledge, and it's not that I was particularly political. Again, it's not just that you're separated out from. You're separated from everything. Like, before you even go to school, my mom, anyways, investigated the teachers. So I believe it was the 2nd or 3rd grade. She knew the teacher I was going into absolutely hated Jehovah's Witness kids, and she tried to get me moved to another class. And the teacher, she was horrible. My kindergarten teacher, though, had a reputation for someone being very caring and loving and understanding of Jehovah's Witness kids. So they check those things out beforehand, and your mom or your parents come in and they sit down with the teachers and they give them all the do's and don'ts, and we're Jehovah's Witness, and my child will not say the pledge, and they cannot be in the room for certain events. You have to sit outside the classroom or go to the office. You can't make Santa Claus, cotton ball pictures at Christmas time. Instead, you can do a bunny. So my mom, I don't know if everyone's parents allowed that, but my mom allowed some substitutions, or I could do the crafts but you still feel weird. You're making a bunny in Christmas, but you can't make a bunny in April because then that's Easter. Maybe then you can make a man in a red hat with a beard. Maren Tammy asked, were you born a Jehovah's Witness? My mother, I was in my first year when my mom was studying with the witnesses. So that's all I've ever known. She got baptized shortly after I was born. So yeah, it's literally all I knew. My uncle actually was one of the 4 or 5 people that were brought to our small town in Arizona to start the congregation there. So he was considered a pretty important person. But yeah, that's all I know. That's all I knew. And so a lot of times too, and I don't know, a lot of people can relate to this, it also didn't feel weird that I didn't celebrate things, because again, I knew that what I was doing was the right thing. And some kids would ask me like, do you, don't you feel bad that you don't celebrate Christmas? I'm like, no, I just feel bad for you guys that you guys believe this crap, you know? And in a nice way, I would tell some of my friends, like, you know, it's really bad that you're celebrating this. This is when I was much younger. I think by the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, yeah, you're trying to hide that you're a Jehovah's Witness quite a bit. That's what I don't like about life. This brain cannot retain a train of thought. I'm just kidding. I love that I'm getting to talk with you guys. This is awesome. Yes, Teddy, it does. I will start thinking of things and it'll snowball into other things. Christmas carols. When I was an adult, I pounded Christmas carols and things into my house because I wanted my kids to have that nostalgia, and they do, but I still never had that same connection with it. Pasta Babe saying we're doing another live stream when I get better. I need to take care of myself. I know. Yeah, my husband's already yelling at me. It's fine as long as I don't eat. I am going to go get taken care of today because I'm actually getting very agitated. I don't like not being well, but I will be doing another live stream. I just got to think of some topics and some things that we can all hang out and talk. Beth Sarima is saying that she's done Christmas things for her kids in her own way. Yeah, so that's something that's very cool. We who grew up as witnesses, we don't know what the traditions are. I mean, we watch them on TV, but we don't actually know what the traditions are. I didn't know what to tell my kids. I did have Christmas, my first Christmas when I was 15 or 16 at my biological father's home. So I got a little bit of it. And when I had my kids, I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to show them. Like, I don't know what the history is or why we do. So I made up my own stuff. They would ask me, you know, how does Santa get into our house? We don't have a chimney. Well, I don't know the answer to that because I was never told the answer to that. So I would be like, well, he turns himself into pixie dust, and he slides underneath the door, and he remakes himself, and then he leaves again. And one year I put a bunch of glitter by the door, and I was like, oh my God, Santa's foot came off, and they were all crying. Okay, they didn't cry, but they were mortified for a minute. But yeah, you make up your own traditions and your own things. And when my first daughter had an inkling that there was no Santa, I didn't know what to tell her. So that to me was kind of hard, but I didn't know how to tell her that I was lied the whole time. She survived though. She's good. Let's see. Yeah, I like coming up with my own traditions. I came up with my own Easter. I didn't care for the whole bunny rabbit thing, so we did our own invented stuff for Easter. Esther said, when I had to shun my mom, I was embarrassed. I wouldn't tell anyone worldly that I was behaving that. It's so sad. I'm hoping that you got to repair that with your mom. Pasta Babe says, you can interview me on live stream. I'm a good subject. I would absolutely love to interview you. This is where I'm stuck. I got to figure out the setup. I am very interested in interviewing people, and I know people there's so many great stories out there. Shoot me an email. You know, most of the time I put my email, Linda, in my description. Shoot me an email. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon. I got to figure out technology-wise how to pull that off, but we'll figure it out. Sounds good. Teddy says, don't lie. I just tell my son and daughter the truth. No, I wanted to do Santa. I was excited to do Santa. My daughter's reaction when she actually found out there was no Santa, I raised such great kids, I have to tell you, it warmed my heart. When I told her there was no Santa, or she asked me, she figured it out, and she did what a lot of us should have done when we were kids, and you might have done this as far as believing in Jehovah. I told her, if you don't believe in Santa, then he won't bring you gifts. So she stood in the hall that year and said, I don't believe in you, Santa. You don't exist. I don't believe in you. I don't believe in you. And she still got presents. And therefore, she deduced that there was no Santa. So when I told her that she was correct, she literally broke down crying and said, so this whole time it's been you. You did all of this for us. I don't understand how you afforded those presents. We're poor. So she actually had a huge appreciation for it. And that was very cool. That sounds very cool, Bessarim. Shoot me an email. We will get something going on, absolutely. I love your guys' stories, and I'd love to hear more of them and give you a platform where you can share. We can all continue to share with everyone. Patricia says, I love how candid you are. Thank you. Some people call it rude. Sometimes it is. I do like to be open. It's important, and I think here's the thing. We were all raised to not be transparent. I love transparency. I love being honest. I love saying it like it is. I would prefer a beautiful... I prefer the ugly truth over a beautiful lie. And unfortunately, not the whole world agrees with me. So ugly truth is good. The real truth. Consolation Pegasus says, I'm still... torn on Christmas. Jesus said not to be a part of the world. I'm not sure what to make of that. Still believe in God, not in the witness organization. I made holidays my own, and I think a lot of us do. I mean, to be no part of the world, you can take it down to don't drive vehicles then. You know, grow your own food. Don't participate in what the grocery stores are producing. There is a lot of things that we can take that scripture and just to say being no part of this world. Don't be torn on Christmas. Make it your own. I didn't teach my kids like, oh, we celebrate Christmas because this is when baby Jesus was born. I'm like, this is a nice celebration. It's a time for us to all come together. I enjoy giving presents. I love giving presents. I love surprising people, and I like the family all coming together. And it's not the only time of the year that we do it. You know, that's a mistake that Jehovah's Witnesses say is, well, you shouldn't just pick one day to do these things. We don't. We still, us worldly people, celebrate things all the time. Just not, yeah. Celebrate Christmas. Just try it. You'll like it. When I was growing up, that's another story. Tiana asked, is your mom still active? Do you talk to her about things? Okay. My mother is still very, very, very active. Our relationship was somewhat broken for many years because we have different views on things like raising children, and I didn't appreciate a lot of the choices that she made. During the last couple of years, though, I'm a big advocate for people going to therapy, not just former Jehovah's Witnesses. This is a messed up world, and guess what? We all need a little bit of help. And so I was working with my therapist on how to create and set boundaries for my mom, and I started putting those in place, and I started calling her on stuff when she says things that are inappropriate or that triggers me. And basically it was like, if you want to have a relationship with me, then you have to work on these things. And she did. And just so we've slowly been coming together, and we talk a few times a week now. She did come and visit me for my daughter's wedding last month. And after a couple of glasses of wine, she saw my background and whatnot. And she said, what's that for? And I said, I do videos for abuse survivors. And she said, that's really cool. Can I look at them? I said, I don't think you want to see them. She specifically asked, do you speak against Jehovah's Witnesses? I specifically avoided that question and said, being one of Jehovah's Witnesses is part of my childhood, and I will openly speak about my childhood. I told her that I have shared a lot of negative stories about both of my parents, and that is my reality, and those stories help other people, and I'm not going to not tell those stories just because it embarrasses her or makes her look bad. As I told her, you may not be that same person now, but it doesn't change the fact that you did these things, and that has kind of shaped part of who I am, and I am going to share those stories. You're not going to change the past. This happened. A few glasses of wine later, after she vowed multiple times to never shun me. I showed her some of my videos, a select few. I showed her the Breakfast Club video because I think it's hilarious. She just shook her head and said, I'm not happy about that. And I said, that's okay. I showed her the rape video because, come on, that shit's funny. She laughed hysterically and said, oh my God, I remember that watchtower. And, you know, she specifically said, I will not shun you. And I was never baptized, so it makes it easy. I said, but what about my brothers? The governing body comes down and says, you have to start shunning me or them, etc. And she sat there and she said, no, I won't do it. My mother also hates men. And her response was, 8 men are not going to tell me I can't speak to my children. Now, she has shunned us in the past. There was a few years for all of us where we were not spoken to by our parents. I was 15 the first time that she shunned me and didn't speak to me for a year. But she knows what I do. She knows what I do enough that I feel safe that if my brother, who is a very devout witness, was to stumble on my videos and he was to tell my mom, she'd be like, it's okay, she's doing what she needs to do to heal. So yeah, it's slow going. I will plant seeds with her. But it has gotten much, much better. I think it's also safer for her because she lives way, way, way far away, right? So she could actually sneakily talk to us and nobody would know. My mom's also a firm believer that not all Jehovah's Witnesses will survive tribulation and not all non-Jehovah's Witnesses will be destroyed. I think it's safe for her to feel that way because that's the only way that she can believe there is any hope for all of us kids who are not Jehovah's Witnesses, because she sees how we live and our lives and that we are good people, and so she goes with the whole Jehovah reads the heart. There's that answer. Hey Jay, thanks for dropping by. I'm gonna scroll back just a little bit to see if I missed anything, because God knows I'll miss things that are right in front of my face. Got that. So Beth Sareem says that she's dealing with her kid with PTSD from publications and videos. They go with her dad. So their dad is still a witness. That's rough. I don't know where you're at, but in the U.S., your divorce decree can delegate who chooses, or if you choose together, what religion they're going to be in. I don't know if that's where it is for you. I think you said you're in Aruba. Check into that. That would make me insane. I could not handle it. Just scrolling through super fast. I talk fast, I read slow. This is me reading and processing. All right. Andy Pohl, welcome. And Great Dane, I'm glad you were able to make it here. I hated doing this time slot because a lot of people are at work. And I do follow a lot of stats and whatnot. And the best time to upload for me would have been like 2 o'clock my time. But frankly, I started taking Wednesdays off early, and so me and Dee stay up late on Tuesdays, and I wasn't sure how hungover I was going to be today. So that's why it's 3 o'clock. So hopefully more people can make it, because they'll be getting off work. All right. Trying to think where I had left off. We were talking about that women cannot be ministers. We talked about that. Oh, another question people ask, do Jehovah's Witnesses have uniforms? No, they choose to dress that way themselves. They do have guidelines though. I went to a meeting last year and I was surprised to see, so I dressed very appropriately and respectfully. I wore flats, these hookers were wearing like 4-inch heels and some tight skirts, and I was like, what the hell? I thought that was really weird. I don't know if that's universal or just this congregation. Where I live, it is a very laid-back place. I thought they looked nice, but that never would have flown when I was a kid. Ever. Thank you, Steve. He is going to bed. Oh, you're going to... Thanks for sticking around. Love to read, said not a Jehovah's Witness anymore. Still don't have a Christmas tree or any of those things. I love Christmas. I actually love Halloween even more, especially with kids. Any opportunity I can have to torment a child, yeah, I'm in. A great time with my kids with Halloween. High heels was my jam as a witness. Yeah, I was actually surprised that they were wearing clothes like that. My mom still dresses very modestly, but she's like a hippie chick to begin with, which is probably why I dressed exactly opposite of her. Okay. Where are we at on our list? Oh, we went through crosses, we went through holidays, uniforms, female ministers. One of the questions that I was asked as a child, why can't you be my friend? Because you're not a Jehovah's Witness. That happens a lot to kids. You can kind of be friends at school, and I think in that 6th, 7th, and 8th grade period, all of us totally, well, I did anyways. I was not a very good Jehovah's Witness girl. I just tried to avoid the fact that I was a Jehovah's Witness and made my way pretty well. But in those younger grades, when you're, learning to socialize and you're learning to be friends with people, and you can't do sleepovers and you can't go to their house and they can't come to yours, and they say, why can't you be my friend? And the answer is, because you're not a Jehovah's Witness. You're worldly and you're going to die. And I would witness to the kids. I would be like, listen, I love you very much and I want to be your best friend and you can be in paradise with me forever, but you just got to talk to your mom about that. Oh my God, I can't imagine a kid going home and telling their mother that. Why do people become Jehovah's Witnesses? Normally people become Jehovah's Witnesses because they are hit with the good news at a usually very down point in their life. I had a conversation with my mom and asked her, why, I knew the story as to why she became a witness, but I wanted to know as an adult where she was. And at that time, she was in a horribly violent marriage. And when her sister presented all this, all this greatness, that looked better to her. And so a lot of witnesses, when you talk to them, they will tell you that either they became, I was in a very dark place. Current Jehovah's Witnesses will swear by this. I was in a dark place. Someone in my family just died. I had just gotten a divorce. And I was praying, what should I do? And then the Jehovah's Witnesses knocked on my door, and so Jehovah saved me. Jehovah sent them to my house, and they will swear by this. This to them is, even when they're out, like if they get disfellowshipped or they're feeling weak, any coincidence, they will tie into Jehovah saving them. So people generally become Jehovah's Witnesses. A, they're often born in, but B, because they are in a very dark and dismal place. And, I told my mom, the Mormons could have knocked on your door that day. You could have met a coworker who was Baptist. You would have taken anything on that point in time that gave you a better light than where you were. I did not realize I'm still scrolling here. Looks like there's a lag in my chat. If you guys can give me just a second, let me figure this out. Yeah, I'm missing a lot of things. JW put you to weirdo boot camp. I'm a pro at being an outcast now. I agree, Teddy. Let me pop this out so I can see it better. Yeah, Esther, I agree. She was saying that people get caught up when they're in vulnerable times of life. And that's 100% what I was just saying. So, Steve, your wife is still a witness and still takes the kids. I don't know how I would handle that. Yeah, you do the best you can to get real truths in with your kids. A lot of people that I talk to, especially through email, I think that that's one of the biggest challenges, especially if they're not with the other spouse, and how they are managing, trying to keep their kids safe and away from it. I'm excited for the next Christmas. Me too. I agree. So Constellation Pegasus is saying, I bet 98% of Jehovah's Witnesses have no clue about the past literature. This is so true. And what's really weird to me, one of my girlfriends growing up, and she is not a Jehovah's Witness. She can't be because she's a lesbian. She lives a very worldly life. But she still goes to assemblies. And when I see her on Instagram with just, I love Jehovah and Jehovah is amazing, I'm like, well, but apparently Jehovah doesn't love you. It's very frustrating. She's actually someone that I really don't talk about any of this stuff to, because I absolutely know, even though she's worldly, it would break her heart. But we grew up together with the same information, and then I left and I woke up. She's out, but she's still so mentally in that even when I have conversations with her, I briefly, just kind of filling her out, said, don't you remember? I said, don't you think it's weird that the 144,000 is opened up again, and that now people can feel the Holy Spirit and they can be anointed? Don't you think that's weird? And her only response was, silly, that never happened. They never closed it. And I'm just staring at her like, we have the literature of when it was closed. And so even though she's not in, she still, I swear, whatever new information they give them, it just literally pushes that old stuff out of their head. Like they literally don't remember it anymore, as if it never existed. And when people ask me, do I really believe this is a cult? Yes. When you have the ability to do that, to literally gaslight somebody to the point that you're erasing memories and things that actually occurred and conversations you had to the point that they don't remember it anymore, that's baffling. So no, I 100%, they either have no clue, especially about the really older stuff, because they're not allowed to look at it, right? They can only look at what's current. Or they literally forget. And I tell people, please don't throw away old literature. I was hunting down a Revelation book, and I actually got my mother to send me a copy, but she was hesitant at first because she kept saying, well, it's old information. It's old information. I'm like, that shit's old information. That is good information. Like, this is an arsenal for me against you guys. Not against you, Ma, just against your 8 leaders. They just forget, or they really believe in the new light. As I just saw out of the corner of my eye, that KDM says, most do know, but they brush the changes as new light. That is, I think, the other thing that they do. So old information is completely erased. It is a weird-ass brainwashing technique. They erase most of that information. They're unaware of the other information, and anything else that they still might question, it's like, no, that's new light. You know, we got light shined upon us in this new information. I'm like, seriously? And let me tell you something about new light. I'm going to switch the subject over here to sex real quick, because it wouldn't be one of my videos if I didn't. When somebody asks about oral sex in the marriage, and I hilariously, my biological father, he was never a witness, but he studied for 6 months, and he still to this day is aggravated over the fact that him and my mom apparently had some oral sex going on in the bedroom. Not my favorite visual. And then she went and reported herself to the elders, and he was like, what the hell? So as far as new light goes, and I think about this with the oral sex thing because it baffles me. In 1974, it was a disfellowshipping offense. In 1978, it was no longer a disfellowshipping offense. And then in 1983, it was a disfellowshipping offense again. Here's the thing. If this is all coming from Jehovah, why does he keep changing his mind? Either it's totally cool or it's not. And they will 100% go by new light, because the new light says that this is okay now. And I'm like, really? Because 2 years ago, you couldn't put a penis in your mouth, but now you can. New light, please. Hi, Clarity. I voted for the first time last year too. It was a little intimidating, but it was very awesome. I think that someone here said it was very empowering, and I would have to agree. One thing I wanted to touch on really quick. How much time do we have left? I got all the time in the world. Because I'm not a Jehovah's Witness. God, the amount of time that you have once you're not a witness is amazing. People ask, do Jehovah's Witnesses believe that all non-Jehovah's Witnesses will go to hell? No. They don't believe in hell. But you will die. You will die a horrible, horrible death, and you will never see your loved ones again. Oh, Bessreem, I think you asked about this before. Yes, this is just my fancy background. She was asking what's behind you. It's so colorful. It's my fancy brick wall. I love it. I have the Trolling the Troll one also that I love. It's like a very woodsy one. But I haven't been able to use it because ever since I made my Trolling the Troll videos, trolls aren't harassing me anymore. I highly encourage them to. I'd love to make another Trolling the Troll videos. That shit's funny. But yeah, Sunny was asking too. I got it off of Amazon. Figured out what your measurements are, and this is what I got for Christmas. And I'm a horrible person to buy for because I never want anything. But when I started my channel last year, my husband was really annoyed because he's an aesthetic, creative person that I didn't have a background. And so he basically got me my equipment and my background and my lighting and my microphone and all of that for Christmas. Thank you, Santa. I do like it now. Now I'm used to it. My mom, because I do Marco Polo with her, she thought the whole time it was real. And I was like, yeah, I have a big colorful brick wall in my garage. All right, where was I? No, Jehovah's Witnesses do not. That was my first video from your channel, the trolls. I enjoy doing those. I was raised Jehovah's Witness. I love to argue. Please, troll me. Let's talk. So no, Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in hell. So no, you will not. If you're not a Jehovah's Witness, you are not going to burn in hell. And let me tell you, this was one of my logics as a kid, but I never told my parents. As one of Jehovah's Witnesses, if your heart's not in the right place or you're a non-Jehovah's Witness, you just die. When Armageddon comes, you die, and that's it. That's your punishment. Let's use Catholicism for a second. Their punishment there, you burn in hell for an eternity. You know what? I think it's safer to believe what the Catholics believe, because at least here I can avoid eternal torment. If I'm wrong about the Jehovah's Witnesses, I just don't wake up again. That's 14-year-old logic for you. It made sense to me. Oh, thank you, Keenan. This is my first live chat. I've been dying to do it. I think finding content, as long as people shoot me questions, I'll talk all day long, but it's like I always want to have some kind of backup content. So I'd like to try to at least do this at least once a month. And I've talked to a couple of people in here, and we're going to look at doing some interviews once I can figure out a good setup. Armageddon is not much different than hell. You get burned up. Yeah, but Katie, you don't burn forever. Eventually you die. I'll take it. Armageddon didn't frighten me so much. I was terrified of tribulation. I don't want to be tortured. Please, and that's the first thing as a woman I think of is, please Don't torture me and go poking around in my vaginal area. Like, that freaks me out. I was terrified of tribulation. Terrified. Let me think where I am at here. Yeah, same here. Love to argue. I appreciate all of you guys showing up today. This has been amazing. Catholics removed karma and reincarnation. That might be a good idea. All right, making sure I did not. The new light is gossip, gospel. All right. I am going to sum it up for now. I know it hasn't been a full hour, but I'm making my way over to the urgent care and get me some drugs. All right, antibiotics, likely. Thank you, Esther, for showing up. Enjoy your gardening. I'm going to say my farewells to anyone. I really appreciate your guys' support. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Beth Serene, for showing. Appreciate it. I'll be yelling at my husband in a minute because he was like, well, of course I'm going to be there for your live stream. We went and got Mexico and he fell asleep. He's going to wake up and he's going to be like, what? I missed it? Like, yeah, you're out. You're out, buddy. There's the couch. Thank you, guys. Marsha, Dara, I don't want to miss anybody. Love to read. Joa, thank you so much for showing up. You must have cool kids. Yeah, Joa, my kids are really cool. Yes, I will do another chat, Katie. I got a video coming out next week that Dee and I shot last night, finishing off some of the Elder's Manual. Probably another Caleb Sophia after that. It's just a matter of coming up with topics. If I can come up with stuff and you guys have ideas of things that we can chat about, shoot me an email. non-apostate@gmail.com. Thank you, Joanna. Welcome, Sweden. I appreciate you stopping by. And as we are starting to wind down, appreciate everybody for showing up. Yes, I definitely do a light chat. This to me was amazing. It's so very different than talking here by myself. I love interacting with you guys, hearing your stories. Great Dane says only 9 thumbs up. Cool, thumbs up this video. Do it. Thank you. All right, guys. I'll see you next time.